We're live on the first tee. In between the tees, today's special day. We get a big Christmas present presented to us and you guys out there. Consider this the red carpet effect. We got the CEO of NeXDeal here today, guys. And man, let me just introduce you guys to Anthony Kelly. I call him AK, and TNT. We just blow it up all day.
TNT, that's what we're talking about, right? Huh?
That's
a
it.
Good explosion.
That's it, man.
Explosion for your mind, make you some money.
Shit, just you better unwind a little bit.
It is.
Yeah, so today we switch it up a little different. You know, we're wearing the T-Fords in the studio because the lights are bright and we're shining like Icarus. So,
yeah, I mean, there's a backstory to that, but hey,
we don't get into that.
we don't get into all that. But the reasons for the glasses is definitely for a good purpose.
Right. Absolutely.
It ain't Hollywood, I tell you that.
Oh.
So here's the deal. You know, when you're unpacking things in this type of setting, which this is a great, best setting ever, right?
Truly.
For real estate, right? Because now people can get real information. You have to pay for it.
Yeah.
When I was coming up, I had to sneak into seminars and stuff, right? This is it. I tried to buy my first company when I was 11 years old.
Really?
Did you know that?
Nah, man. 11? What were you targeting?
I was cutting some grass. Me and my dad had like a little bit of whatever, right? I was always aggressive about the bread. I don't know what it was. I guess I was like him, right?
Okay.
So I was pressuring about buying some stuff, and I mean it was just so mundane and so crazy that I almost got kicked out of the house at 11 years old.
Okay.
Because I wanted to make some money.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay. I'm playing football and doing that whole thing, but I'm like, yo. And so he's like, well, and this is a true story, okay? My dad left the house at 11, worked in a coal mine from the South, okay? This is during the 50s, so things ain't too kosher back there. Shreveport, Louisiana. And his concept, he's a hard-nosed dude, right?
Yeah.
Different experience for most. He said, well, look, if you believe that you're capable and you could push me around in my house at 11 years old, then you're capable of leaving the house.
Okay.
Right? You can couch surf, figure it out, but you're going to be out. You keep pressuring me about what you pressure me about. Or you can go in the backyard, grab a lawnmower and an edger. I'll give you the gas so you can get rolling, and you go get you some accounts.
Okay.
Okay.
So he was almost setting you up to become an entrepreneur.
He set me up to be self-sufficient because in his mind, because he started out so early as a boy, making a living for himself, he's like, that's real manhood. When you're self-sufficient, you use your labor to produce income. No skill, no nothing, use your back.
Yeah.
That's where he come from, right? And he was illiterate.
Okay.
So he only knew construction and mechanical stuff, right? Very smart in that way, right? And very smart in the way of understanding supply and demand with skills, manual skills, and price points and stuff like that. So much so that he and my mom surmassed for their humble beginnings. My mom's from Nicaragua, so she's third world, right? She came here when she was 18, and blue collar all the way in the house. And we're in Compton, Linwood, that kind of thing. And, he got like a gas station that's like where he parks his trucks. He's in the trucking business. He has a 4-unit apartment building. All needs repairs, but these are all up and coming things. He's 45 years old. Set the tone of the picture of, what he did. And of course, me being around it, I was like, I gotta make me some money. I gotta help my family. So I cut grass, got some money for a seminar.
Okay.
And this is a lot of money back then. But put it in perspective. My parents' mortgage payment was like $600 on one property, but that was a lot of money then, right? Her income was $15,000 a year.
Okay.
So give you an idea of inflation and dollars and stuff like that.
Money definitely had more value.
We're going to get into that because there's definitely a direction why I'm telling you guys this story right now. give you background on me and how I think about life, right? Why I push so hard and every day. So I went and got this this concept of going to a business seminar to buy a company, right? So I paid the guy $500.
Okay. Quite a bit.
So $500 is the equivalent of a mortgage today.
Right.
11-year-old paying $500 for a seminar, right? So me and my cousin, we go. Guy, at the end of the seminar, the guy tells me I got to buy this book that's like $1,500. I'm like, bro, like you got to give me my money back.
Was there any value to that seminar at all?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
So I went through the seminar, got the information, right? And then at the end of it, he's upselling us on a book. That's $1,500.
Classic seminar.
Classic seminar. It's Hoover's. Hoover's is a book that has all company information.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're like in the business sector of doing financing, loans, that kind of thing, Hoover's is your go-to to figure out who owns what, how much business they do, all that stuff. Hoover keeps track of that, right?
Okay.
It's like Dun and Bradstreet, but a directory. Okay, so the book is $1,500. In today's money, that's like $15,000.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
If a mortgage was $600,
Yeah.
$1,500.
It's nuts.
Yeah. So I looked at this man. I was like, in front of everybody, I'm the youngest guy in there. I'm like, yo, you got to give me my money back. I can't afford a book like that. Like, how you set me up for me to fail and I didn't even get out the gate. He's like, okay, calm down, right? You can go to your library if you can't afford the book.
Right.
And use the book. So we're in the summer. And when I get out of summer school or summer camp or whatever, right? I'm spending my whole time looking at companies to buy.
Okay.
I'm copying down the numbers. I can't take the book home. It's too valuable, right?
So you became real close to the librarian.
I became real close to the library. Walking in, at this time, there was only one bus that could take me close enough to the library, the Compton Library. So I would take the Long Beach bus to Rosecrans Avenue.
Okay,
Anybody that's familiar with Compton or LA, they know what Rosecrans is, especially if you ever heard Tupac or anybody else talk about some stuff, right?
100%.
So I take the Long Beach bus to Rosecrans, and then I get off on Rosecrans and I walk to the library because there's no bus that's coming in time for me to get there. So I walk like a mile. Every day I walk a mile in the heat, up and back. Okay?
Sheesh.
Yeah. Right? No trees, no nothing.
Right.
Right? On the hope of buying a business that'll change our family's life and my life, right? So I'm talking to everybody. I'm telling everybody I'm going to be rich and I'm going to change your whole world. And, you know,
at a young age,
and this guy is the truth. He showed me how to buy a company. So I learned how to evaluate a company. I learned EBITDA. I learned projections. I learned market research. I learned all that from this guy. Right? Great seminar. He just couldn't execute what he sold me on.
He couldn't personally.
He couldn't do it. So I put together this plan and I called I probably called at least 1,000 companies, man, over the course of a summer, right? And I started noticing a trend, and I realized that in interacting with him, he said target companies that had a small board of directors, same last name. Oh, that makes sense.
Interesting.
I'm going to target these same names. And he says because those directors that's family business, so it's small.
Yeah.
Okay? And usually it's a father and kids.
Smart.
Maybe a wife or something like that, or a cousin or a brother, but it's a small business. So I started targeting those. I started getting more traction. More people started, giving me the information. Everybody thought I was a secretary.
No way.
Because my voice, I didn't have no bass.
This what I was going to ask you is that with you being so young, were you kind of written off, or were, like you said, you weren't taking it seriously? You think, or
no? I think what it was, I played it. I played it for what it was. I told him I worked for Mr. Kelly, and I was a secretary, so I was able to grab all the information.
Okay, so you're gaming them.
They gave me the information.
Yeah.
They gave me the information on the companies. I wasn't gaming. I was just out. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Right? Mr. Kelly was the seminar guy. Okay? So I got all the information, and then I started putting the packages together, and that's how I learned what a good company was versus a bad company as far as income was concerned, right?
Okay.
Projections, 5 times, earnings.
Valuations.
Okay. I don't know how I stumbled into this concept, but I did. So I started working on car companies. I think because of this guy that lived across the street, I used to help him with drag racing cars. I used to hand him tools. I had all these hustles, okay? Bottles, at the time, a kid could go to a liquor store and pick up liquor and cash a check and pick up cigarettes and all that stuff. You can go into the store for someone. So I had a store. I was basically my neighborhood's Uber.
Before, wow. What year was this again?
This is in the 70s.
Look at that, guys. Listen to this, guys. He masterminded Uber before there was even a mastermind of Uber.
Yeah. So I was doing Uber for people. I was doing store runs, picking up cans, cutting grass, handing people tools that's working on their cars. Okay. Man, you ain't got to worry about, you working on your car today? You ain't got to worry about grabbing the tools. I'll hand them to you.
Yeah. Small fee.
Just tip me.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay? How long are you going to do? You going to drop the transmission you're working on? What you working on? Carburetor? you replacing your spark plugs?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make it easy for you. You want some water, whatever? I got you. I'm your personal concierge. Bingo, right?
There it is.
So this is my hustle in my neighborhood, okay? As a boy. So this is how I was able to amass that money. Everybody's questioning how an 11-year-old in the 70s could pick up $500. Not too hard if you really hustling hard, right?
True.
So, and I manage my time well. Time management is everything. So while I was researching, I discovered that I had an affinity for cars and I knew about cars. So I started going after car companies.
Okay.
Guys that was in the manufacturing space of parts. And any kind of parts that was going on, I can go to the guy that created the drag racing cars and ask him questions. What do you think about this? What do you think about that?
As like a secondary research?
As a gauge for the company that was in discussions with.
Okay.
Would this company last? Do you think this company... what do you think about this parts? And what do you think about that? And he would tell me because he knew all the boutique companies.
Did he?
Yeah, because he was a drag racer. He parks from everybody in California.
Okay.
He's one of the top guys, racing street races and all that stuff. And street races got a lot of money in it, right?
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah. So especially in the 70s, that was his business. He would build a car for these rich guys to do street races. Like this is during the time when, you had a lot of guys, like a lot of street guys, a lot of high rollers, big bank, drug dealers, that kind of thing, right?
They needed to invest money somewhere else.
They were just gambling money. And when you got all this cash around, you throwing it away. So they putting $100,000 into an engine on a Volkswagen. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Okay. They're just doing all kinds of craziness with money, and that's when the big medallions and the diamonds, and they're just throwing money. What hip-hop looks like today, that all came from high rollers, drug dealers in that era of the 70s and 80s, to get you a tone of the motivation of why you wanted to have money, why you wanted to be around people with money, and the whole concept of having a luxurious life in the hood, right?
Yep.
These are your idols. It's not the basketball players and... they're not really making that money.
Yeah, these are the people in your neighborhood. These are the people you see every day.
Right.
That you can touch, talk to, and be in contact with.
But also, more importantly, this is a time when, believe it or not, people were making more money than athletes.
Oh, yeah. Athletes weren't paid back in that day.
No.
Not at all.
They had 2 jobs. A lot of people don't realize, like, guys are selling insurance and financial products and playing football on the weekend.
Yeah.
People that's in the hood knew that because these guys came from the neighborhoods that they were, came from these neighborhoods to play for the Colts and all these different football. And you knew they had a side job, right? So, and the drug dealers are the ones that had all the bread.
They did.
Okay? So that's what you looked up to in my environment to get rich. right? Now that was an off-table market for me. I was never going to get involved in that, and that's a whole nother story for another time. But I chose to be a business guy early.
Yeah.
And the company I chose was a chip manufacturer for Ford, Chevy, and all the big companies out of San Diego. An English engineer was in the chip business.
Okay.
So computers hadn't even been in your house yet. Here I am, 11-year-old, figured out that the car industry was where I needed to be because that was the skill set that I was closest to where I could have some authority, right? All right. And I figured that out halfway through the summer, right? So imagine how many calls I made to get to that point.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands, if not 10, right?
Right. So that's a form of door knocking. That's a form of stamina, right? Mm-hmm. That stamina and those type of sales pitches and critiquing and getting rejected and all that stuff, those apply to any industry.
Definitely.
Right? So I get to this precipice and I'm like, I find this company, I negotiate the deal. The guy is selling me the business for $1.8 million. Mm-hmm. That for anybody that wants to go in inflationary terms, homes at that time were $25,000 to $40,000. Yep. So, $1.8 million in today's money is probably $60 million. So I basically negotiated a $60 million deal successfully where the guy signed the contract to sell me the business and everything. Well, not sell me, the seminar company, right? I'm a broker, for $60 million.
And this was when, this is 11 years old.
Yeah. I negotiated successfully. I got the book somewhere. I think my mom, she was telling me, she reminded me of the story. She says, I got the book somewhere, the seminar book. I'm going to find it so I could show it. But $60 million. It'll be interesting to see my notes. That's why I want to look at it.
Definitely.
Yeah. So basically 1.8 million, equivalent to 60 million a day. He agreed. The income was there. He was just tired of the business because his kids didn't have any interest in it.
Right.
And it was a growth market. Chip manufacturing for cars.
Yeah.
In the 70s. Could you imagine if I was in the right family? I'd be like a genius in business terms, right? But I'm a kid from the hood. So I don't get those options, right?
You stumbled upon it.
I made my own path,
Correct.
But it wasn't my time. That was just one of those life lessons in your diary or your book or your path to what your destiny is, right? You have a bunch of these different elements that give you fire along the way. And that fire allows you to become a lot more laser focused when the time comes when it's presented.
That was the initial match or the stoke, so to speak, to where you are today.
Exactly.
How your flame is large, but I mean, you're talking 11 years old. I think about the people that I hung around with, or even let's talk about, like, you were probably the only one in your neighborhood at that time doing these things.
I probably was the only person in the whole state of California. I mean, when you think about it,
yeah. Other kids probably thought you were nuts, huh?
They didn't know.
They had no idea?
My friends didn't know I was cutting grass. Let me tell you something. I didn't want to embarrass my family. They already used to talk about my mom because she had an accent, and she was from another country. That was a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So, the mestizo thing is a real thing. So fighting that stigma, was something. So I didn't want anyone to look down on my family. We already had the raggedy car on the street and, that kind of thing. My cousin, so it was that. So people thought my family was rich outside of the car stuff. They thought we was rich because I was the only guy. Let's put it this way. When the weekends came, Saturday and Sunday, anybody know Compton, they know Chico's Pizza, right? Okay, so I was at Chico's Pizza on the weekends watching the football games, and when I wasn't playing Pop Warner, I was there the whole day. The whole day. Anybody could come have pizza with us. We playing pool. We're drinking root beer all day, and I got $100 worth of quarters out for us to play. I was a baller.
So, hey guys, this one's on me.
I was a baller the whole time. Like, that's what it was. So, and I love the what do you call it? The generosity piece. I love being able to be generous like that to my friends. So they thought I was getting the money from my parents, and I like people thinking that my parents was doing it because I didn't want nobody to know my hustle.
Right.
I don't want them thinking, oh, well, Anthony's doing it, I can do it. I didn't share the information.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think of this too, and right around like 13, I noticed my neighborhood where I grew up there was a bunch of older people. So I would go door knock on their, hey, do you guys need help with your trash cans? Mm-hmm. And after the first neighbor, I charged them $20 a month to wash them, clean them, put them back in, and turn in like 5 accounts. So similar to what you're saying, when I was like in elementary school, people thought my family was rich because we lived on a hill, we had nicer things, but that I always had money. Yeah. And I would, we go to Wendy's or Carl's Jr. and hey, everybody gets fucking famous stars. Yeah. So when you're telling me the story, it's crazy, bro.
You know it, right?
It's nuts. Yeah. And all it was is just really just identifying something. Yeah. And being proactive and taking action.
Right. And wanting to be that guy. The guy that you saw yourself being. Because it has to be that first. You see yourself in the mirror and you're like, I'm that guy. And then and then you go and produce that. You go and become that guy, right?
Absolutely.
And so, and I think that applies with any business or any endeavor, or any concept that you have about, making progress, right? You got to identify yourself, right, and what you want to interact with. So, so here's how he found out that I couldn't buy the business.
The owner.
Yeah.
Okay, the chip owner. Okay.
Yeah. He sent me the contract. I sent it over to the seminar guy. For a whole 2 weeks, I'm telling my family, like, we're rich now, all because of me. I'm smart. Right?
I can only imagine if
11-year-old walking around the house and your family is telling you, you're telling everybody in the house that you're about to make them all rich because you just bought this business. Right. And it's closing.
And everybody's like, whatever.
They laughing. Yeah. Like, okay, they laughing. So Sunday, my dad is usually gone. He decides to be home that day.
Okay.
And, I'm moving around. And I tell my mother, it's like, hey, if somebody calls for Kelly, it's for me, not my dad. Okay? I know he's in there. He's going to be chilling. But don't. And she forgets.
She's like, okay, mijo, huh?
Yeah. But she forgets. So she picks up the phone. Englishman calls and says, may I speak to Kelly? And she says, Kelly, somebody calling you from San Diego. This is his name, whatever. She says, I don't know nobody about it. She says, it's an Englishman. So I definitely don't know no Englishman.
This is your pops, yeah.
Yeah, it's my pops. And then he started thinking at the table, and he says, and I'm far away, so I can't even tell anybody not to say anything. I'm just hearing a portion of the conversation. And he says, oh, because they used to call me Tiger. He says, oh, that's one of Tiger's business deals. And they just start laughing.
Okay.
And he says, yeah, Tiger says he's going to buy this multi-million-dollar business. And Tiger, he's always trying to work on something, right? Mm-hmm. And the guy hears this whole conversation happen between my mother and my dad.
Oh, so it's like they're holding the phone.
They're on hold with the phone, okay, like this. They don't have it covered or anything. Yeah. And they're just talking while she's cooking or something. Yeah. And he's sitting at the table and I'm somewhere else.
And nobody's calling you.
Destroying my deal. Yeah. And it's melting right in real time in front of me. Right? Okay?
Wow.
So, needless to say, he's on the phone with my mother, livid, because he's been dealing with me for like 3 weeks, thinking his business is about to be bought. He done told his kids his business is about to be bought, contract signed.
He's doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Little did he know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he says, yeah. He says, well, Kelly says, well, my husband definitely wasn't buying your business, and my son, he's not buying it because he's only 11 years old.
Oh.
He don't have $1 million to save his life, let alone $1,000.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a plot.
That's how they found. That's how he found out. Then he got on the phone with me. He was eloquent. He says, "I want to cuss your ass out, but I got kids your age." He says, "You're a twit. So you know what a twit is?" And he started explaining what a twit is. And then he said, "You need to go to school. You need to become an engineer if this is what you want to do. Don't waste people's time, and definitely don't try to find no fast buck on a seminar."
So let me ask you this: would it have been successful had it not been for that interaction with mom and dad?
No, because I ran into this problem a week prior where the seminar company stopped answering my phone calls.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about earlier, how you found out he couldn't execute.
Yeah. So I had everything. I had the correct projections. I had the right profit margin. I had all the due diligence. I had the contracts. I had fulfillment, receivables, payables. I mean, everything. Mm-hmm. This guy was viable. Okay, money in the bank, everything, infrastructure,
damn, bro.
Growth. Right?
Wow. You basically had the basketball. You threw it up, and all you need, you were Kobe laying it up to Shaq. Here, slam it in.
I had the deal.
Yeah,
I'm in the championship. I got the deal.
Yeah.
It's done.
Shaq,
it's easy.
take it in. Yeah.
It's easy. Open escrow, put the money in.
Wow. And the guy didn't take your phone calls.
They started avoiding me, and I thought that they snaked me out of the deal. It got to the point where I just thought, because I hadn't heard from the seller, he was busy or whatever, I guess. I would leave messages, "Hey, how's everything going?" Couldn't tell him I didn't know where the deal was going. I'm just calling just to see what's going on, to see if he had a response to, "Oh, yeah, we opened escrow," or "We're doing this," whatever. I didn't hear anything, so I said, "Oh, okay."
Pulse reading, yeah.
I just assumed they took the deal. I just assumed that they're not going to pay me. They just took it, right? But no, he was traveling overseas, and when he came home, the escrow hadn't been opened.
Okay.
So that's how that call happened. I just got back, weekend.
Okay.
I'm calling you on a Sunday because I just got back on Saturday. This is at the top of my family. I've got my kids. They expected money out of this.
Right.
This is like real stuff. Golden parachute. People about to make some money, right?
Yep.
$1.8 million is a lot of money back then.
Definitely.
Yeah. So when he doesn't return the calls, I can't talk to the guy to tell him where his status is.
Yeah, you
I'm blind.
Got your dick in your hand, so to speak. You're just waiting for this other dude to perform, and you're good to go.
And it's over.
Yeah.
And that's how it came to a close. So,
damn.
Yeah, so I had the embarrassment, everything else. Most importantly, I learned a really valuable lesson. I learned that seminars aren't bad. I learned that if you're going to go after doing business with someone, they got to have proof that they've closed.
Yep.
I learned that at 11. I learned that adults were just as fallible as a kid, and they made poor decisions and all that stuff. My concept of negotiating with adults was so early on that when I negotiated with an adult, I was negotiating like I was an adult, like I was 20, 30 years. I was their age.
You've been there before, almost.
I was articulating on a high level. So by the time my dad passed away, he passed away when I was 17 going on 18, at 45. Lymphoma, died 6 months.
Damn.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to college.
Right.
My mom's young, they're young, and you don't have no real insurance.
Brothers and sisters?
None. I mean, I got 2 half sisters, but
okay,
they were older and they weren't in our household. I was by myself, basically.
So you had to step up and become the mantle for taking care of moms in the house.
Well, or let her lose.
Right.
It was 1 out of 2. It's like either she loses or I step into these shoes. And my sales pitch to all the friends was, how does a young man earn adult wage?
Okay.
With no skills, because I didn't have none. I'm in high school. What skills do you have in high school?
Not definable skills, but internal skills, yeah. I get what you're saying.
Skills.
Got you.
I didn't have no product. I didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
Right? I just knew I had 3 mortgages. I had one of my dad's best friends tell me, He said, man, we're what you call buried, dead alive, dead walking.
Okay.
Walking dead, basically. You can't afford nothing. You can't get nothing done. And you're buried. You got maybe 6 months of burn rate.
Yeah.
So I had a buddy of mine that was knocking on doors for somebody. I watched him making some money. It wasn't no big deal. He just started making some money. And I saw him get a second car. Even though it was a Volkswagen, he got a second Volkswagen. It's like, okay, so this is working. What you doing? And meanwhile, I'm in Federated loading boxes and trucks, working double time, just to try to help with the mortgage we have. We still have 2 mortgages that are falling behind every month. Foreclosure is coming. I'm at 18.
It was just a matter of when.
Oh, no, I knew when it was coming. I knew that too.
The dates too?
Yeah, I knew everything because my mom had to share with me because I was helping, right? And so
She probably leaned on you.
Learned about foreclosure. That's when she was depressed. She just lost her husband in 6 months. She didn't have time to look. You know what happens to most people when they're not prepared in blue collar families? They lose everything, especially when they're young.
It comes swiftly.
Yeah, you got 2-party household, right? One dies. If it's not 50% of the income, is more.
Yeah.
Right? And that is enough to sink any ship, let alone multiple properties. Right? So there was no way to, have the perfect financial picture or anything like that. They didn't come from that.
Right. There was no living trust.
illiterate.
There was no life insurance policies in play. There was nothing, no key man business. It was basically
basic insurance. No one really advised. No one cares to advise.
Right.
They just gave you the basics of whatever it was, and you just make it what you make it.
right.
So a buddy of mine's knocking on doors, doing foreclosures, probates, that kind of thing for an investor. He's finding deals, and I'm watching him grow financially. And I mean fast. Like he started in 45 days and 90 days, his life was changing. 9 years after that, he had a BMW. So I'm watching him grow his money. Then I got a couple other buddies that are in real estate, but they're not really sharing what they're doing, kind of close to the cuff. So I knew that wasn't an option for me. While I'm loading trucks, I'm looking at this, right? Because I'm trying to at least keep something coming in for her. And I got to the point to where I was so desperate. And this is the power of real estate. I got to the point where I was so desperate, and this is during the crack era, so there's no jobs at Lockheed John Douglas. Those are gone. All the high-paying wages are gone.
Yeah.
So
Manufacturing's gone. Aerospace is gone.
It's a vacuum. It's like Detroit, okay, in California. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, looking at everything. And I was like, I got to talk to the shot callers in the neighborhood and other guys that I knew. Mm-hmm. And I'm going through neighborhood to neighborhood, from L.A., from Compton, Watts. I'm in every neighborhood talking to anybody that's a shot caller that could put me on something that can get me enough money to catch up on the mortgages.
Yeah.
If anybody knows what I'm talking about, when you're that desperate and your back is against the wall, all conventional theories go out the window. You can talk about judging someone. You can talk about all of these things, but unless you've actually been in those shoes as a man or a woman where you're trying to protect your family and provide, there's no way that you can think of it conventionally, especially you have no resources.
Yeah.
No one's rich in your family. There's no credit. There's no credit lines.
Yeah, all the hesitation, all the things that you would normally wait for or be hopeful for is gone. It's just action, right?
Right.
You just take massive action, and it becomes a real numbers game, going far and wide to go ahead. Like you said, you're going to everyone because you don't know when that yes is going to come through, right?
Yeah. You don't know where it's coming from. And most importantly, this is before there was any real access to information on borrowing money.
Oh, yeah.
In the hood.
There was no internet. There was none of that.
Come on.
Twitter.
No.
None of this. Social media. Yeah.
What do you mean to lend on a home? In the hood.
You got to go. Yeah, you got to go to that one house. You got to go to that trap house, as the kids say these days.
Or you go somewhere and they redline because everybody's in certain colors and no one's really thinking about the colors because that's the neighborhood they grew up in.
Yeah.
They grew up wearing those colors. They're not thinking that it's, there's a gang, but you're not really looking at it from that perspective that it could affect your neighborhood and marginalize you from having access to money.
Definitely.
That was probably the biggest wake-up call for me was that because of the choice of clothes and the look and everything else, it would actually put you in a place of depletion where you couldn't get certain monies from certain banks because your neighborhood looked a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
So these are all the things that
redlining. Redlining.
Real redlining, right? And your house can be perfectly just as nice as the other person's house, but because everybody happens to hang out at your house when the appraisal comes out,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Your house doesn't get the loan because you're a gang house.
Yeah.
Okay.
What kind of frivolous activities are going on here?
Period. And she just can't be feeding everybody.
Right. Well,
because that's how it was back then.
Community was tight.
Yeah, prevent you from going to the store because maybe there's a war or something going on. So everybody in the neighborhood, all the kids, affiliates, non-affiliates, gangs, whatever, you're going to this house to get your food. If you want McDonald's, she'll go to McDonald's for you. You're like on a curfew in your own neighborhood. You can't go certain places because people are looking to take anybody's heads off that's next to you, right?
That's it.
And you may not have nothing to do with it, but everything to do with it because you grew up in that area.
That's it.
Right? So this is the politics and the environment that I'm growing up in, okay? And I'm trying to figure out how to provide on 3 mortgages at 18 years old. That's an impossible feat.
Yeah.
Most people would have fell apart and it would never happen.
That pressure would crumble someone else.
Yeah. But my dad prepared me so early being so hard-nosed and then the whole company thing and all that stuff. I actually had God just basically bless me because I had looked at everything. I had looked at every possible. I'm not going to get into all the things I looked at, but I looked at everything. And I chose one thing that could bring me cash in hours, enough to pay off everything. I chose it. And I was down with it. I had some OGs that wanted me to be in with it, and I was down. I was like, no way my mother's going to lose twice. Period. And so when you talk about incarceration, mass incarceration, talk about opportunity, you talk about education, it's a very complex thing. You can't really just put people in a place to where you can say, well, they just made the decision. Man, there's a lot of things going on in that pressure cooker, man, and there's a soup in there.
A lot of different ingredients that go into play.
Yeah, that pushes that person to that place. And most people can't understand it because they don't have to deal with it because they came up with a certain kind of structure and system in place for them, right?
Definitely.
Okay? But areas that I come from, they don't have that. So this will give you an idea of why NeXDeal was born and why it means so much to someone like me and others. It's definitely not for everybody, and I'm not trying to proclaim that it's for everybody, and that's why I got a Noah's Ark, because I don't like dealing with a lot of people. I'm a very private person. Not on social media like that. I'm not looking for no friends. I don't care.
Yeah.
I do what I do. I like to do what I do. I spend money. I like to hang out. I like to, I like to have a good time.
Do what you do, baby. That's it.
But the NeXDeal machine was built so that way guys that had their back against the wall, that needed a place where they can knock on doors, right? Because I got that in there. You can knock on doors. You can get 23 doors in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Every day. Okay, so that's part of it. And then, of course, you got the leads for the phones, right? That's part of it. And then you got the back end of it, right? Which is what I learned from the seminar guy, right? Seminar guy, he couldn't close. I can close. Me and Francis can close.
Oh, definitely.
So I put a mechanism in there that you don't have to worry about kissing a bunch of frogs to figure out who's going to close a loan or who's going to buy the house or if the programs work or you ain't got to worry about none of that. All you got to do is go out and produce what we tell you to produce, and we're going to close it for you, guaranteed payday.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a luxury. in a market where it's always changing. One bank is open, then they change their guidelines and it closes. You sold a client on this product, now the product's no longer in existence. Now you look like a liar because the product changed. That ain't our business. We're in the private space, so our stuff never changes.
It's what we say it is. Yeah, that's one thing that I do appreciate because it's happened in the past 6 months. We've seen Change Wholesale lose a product that everybody loved. It was a no-income document, great program. They lost some cert from the Treasury, and anybody that was in that program locked in, they couldn't execute, they couldn't close. We had to scramble. But the thing about private equity, what we deal with, is it's the terms that we lay out, and there's going to be no changes. We're going to go ahead and execute from A to Z and get you to your keys in your hand, or whatever the solution might have come to, you know.
Right. And so the thoughtfulness of NeXDeal is about retention. And that's kind of like what it was. It's about bringing products that we know are standard, that never leave the economy of what we do. And an agent or a broker or a marketer or anybody that wants to be involved can see high ticket sales, large commissions, and help you grow into the person you want to be. Whether you want to fix and flip or you want to just do mortgages, you want to be a developer, a builder, we have the money and the resources to help you, become that. And it's not overnight. I didn't flip my first house till I was 26. I was in the market of doing deals at 18.
Yeah.
Okay. By the time when I got into real estate, I figured out the reason why I said 23 houses because I was out on houses and I'm telling my mom I'm going to make this thing happen. And it couldn't be what happened when I was 11. So you can imagine what I had in my head. It's like, here I am telling my mom I'm going to help her again. And this has to work. So I can't come back and say, oh, the guy disappeared on me.
Yeah.
It's real now. It's
you have
three
to
mortgages.
You have to come through.
Got to come through. Or die doing it. Got to do it. So I found a product, which was a hard money loan, seconds, thirds. So I found the product. I was working underneath the guy that worked for the guy. So I'm not even getting a full commission. All you guys that talk about, I want my commission, I'm concerned about. No, man, that ain't how it works, bro. You got to pay your dues. It's how it goes. And sometimes the best way to pay your dues is to work for somebody that's making some money. Yeah. They're probably not going to make you're probably not going to make as much, clearly, because they got to eat and they got all the tools, but you guarantee to close.
Yeah. You're going to get paid.
Because they're efficient.
Yeah.
You could have 100% of something and think that you're getting somewhere and you don't make no money. And then you can have, in my instance, okay, I'm going to give you the real numbers. All right. Back then, I think he was making and he had a partner. Okay. So
it was that guy, another guy, then you, and
and I wanted to get busy and I wanted to make legitimate money. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to knock on these doors. I'm going to take his brother out on houses with me. Who's my brother? I love him. Right. But this is my deal. The deal and business is two different things.
Yep.
Right? So we're getting, I think, they're getting $5. I think we're getting like $1,400
at the end of it.
We produce the deal.
Right.
And we get $1,400 out of the $5, right? Which is okay. So $750 each. Now the mortgage payment is $600, right? So we're getting $1,400. But what we figured out was we hit one deal and then we go 3 weeks without hitting a deal.
Yeah.
So we're averaging a month. It's not enough, right? I'm no longer working at Federated, right? I'm off for like 2-3 weeks. So I'm not getting a check. I'm testing this thing out, right? Mm-hmm. So we get one deal and I'm like, whoa, this is not going to work. And then I hit. Right? I'm still about to do my thing with the OGs. Okay? I still had that planned. Right? I'm just waiting for them to call me to tell me, hey.
It's ready.
Yeah. That's why I took off work.
Yeah.
Mortgage payments got to be paid. Okay? So I get the first deal done. Okay, well, this could work, but it's taking too long. I'm still obligated to this. And then I figured out during that time that I wasn't knocking on enough doors. All you guys that give up, okay, I want to share something with you. You didn't go in the lab long enough to figure out why you weren't winning.
Take a step back, analyze the delivery or your approach, yeah?
No, analyze your touches.
Got it.
How many touches are you getting?
Okay. Huh.
Because your touches lead to your pool. Your pool leads to everything. So I realized we were doing 10 to 12 houses a day. We're exhausted. This is no GPS at this time. You're using Thomas Guide. So you got to...
Good old Thomas book.
Yeah. You got to grab a paper, and you got to put your list together of foreclosures. I had a motivated list because it was foreclosures and probates. So I put that list together, and we would organize that list on a piece of paper with the cut them out, 10 houses. And we think we're doing something, but we're not really getting there. And I sat back and I said, we need to do 20 houses a day. And he's like, bro, how are we going to do 20 houses a day? I said, think about it. If we do 20 houses a day, we're going to triple the number of people we talk to. That's going to get us across to the money we need. Because it don't matter what they're getting. Our number is our number. And if we could do that, and sure enough, bro, I don't know, it's like the clouds departed, God just came down and said, blessed. The moment we started doing 20 houses a day, bro, we had deal on top of deal. We were closing deals every other week. And then that every other week turned into every week. And that every week turned into every other day. And we just had flow of cash. So $1,500 coming in every other, 2 times a week. We're making $3,000 a week, right? And then that turns into $6,000 a week. And then turns into... Okay. By the time that 6 months came, and clearly I didn't do what I was going to do with these guys, or else I'd probably been in jail or shot, right? So I didn't do what I was going to do with those guys. And it was on the news what they did, okay? 2 of them got caught, 4 of them got away, okay? So, and I looked at that as a sign from God. He's like, I want you to visualize what your life could have been like had you made the decision. Yeah. So it was newsworthy, okay? And my decision to take what people call the stairs or the long route or whatever it was paid off because I wind up refining my skills. And those skills have led me on this journey through real estate, which is the best business ever. It's the only business that will give a teenager an adult wage.
That's it.
Think about that for a second. Where can you go with no skills, with just sheer energy and ingenuity, and if you have a mouthpiece and you're willing to do the work, you can put yourself in a strong position financially, way stronger than anybody, older than you. Now clearly you got to get past the hurdles of people looking at you young and that kind of thing. But
I think that's a good point, and I think that's what we're gonna cap this off right here. The first 9. We're gonna continue this one on the back 9. Diving more into NeXDeal. But ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's pretty obvious that real estate can get you where you want to go. It's got to come with a mindset. Start earlier is the better, and being able to go ahead and execute. So, this is only one segment of what AK can provide. And it's going to go ahead and just level everybody up on this front 9. So stay tuned for the back 9, ladies and gentlemen. AK, this is to be continued. You got more stories for us here on In Between the T's. And we're going to get this going, brother. Appreciate you, brother.
Let's go.